maybe we'll spend some time talking about the just hardscape materials. We're kind of already on that topic, just the types of wood and rock that you would recommend using. Diane, what do you have in the current Chinese crocodile enclosure as far as wood? Is it just random stuff, or go ahead.
So in that build, it's actually right now the wood that I have in there is a combination of things. So the background is the compressed cork tile, and it's like a 1 inch tile thick. So I mean that's like one component that makes up the background, and surprisingly, it's not really breaking down in the water. And that build's been there for 4 years almost now. And then as far as wood goes, it's a combination of cork and also different like deciduous branches. I'm pretty sure most of it's maple.
Just from
And
outside.
some of it, yeah, exactly. From outside, it's like I mean like I didn't actually like bake it or anything, but I just treated it like cleaned it and I like put it against a wall in the summer for like a week and just cooking in the backyard at like 30 whatever degrees Celsius weather. So I don't know, like 90 something for you guys to and I think. And yeah, so I mean that's like the majority of the wood. I in like some of the other builds I do for hardscape, like I like to use things like lava stone or lava rock because it adds a lot of surface area for like beneficial nitrifying bacteria, or even the clay balls. Well, I mean, it's not really hardscape, but like you can add some of that in your drainage. But I mean, yeah, and then I think I have some, it's not dragon stone. I have some type of aquarium stone that's also in the Shinisaurus build. But yeah, that's pretty much it for that one.
Mm.
Yeah.
And Tanner, what about you? What are some of your favorite hardscape materials for this type of work?
I have a lot of stuff that I really like to use. To touch on the wood real quick, I think one of the things that's best is obviously Diane touched on the deciduous aspect and the maple and everything, but a quick test is do like a scratch test. So if you scrape the surface and it starts rubbing off, probably don't want to use it. Hardwoods are best in that regard, but things that I personally like to use are for texture, I really like to use spider wood, so skinny branches so you can get them coming through with roots and that type of thing. I really like Mupani because it comes in a lot of different forms. You can get pieces that look like roots, pieces that look like branches, and it holds up forever. I have pieces that literally I've had since I was 14, and I'm still being able to use them in tanks. Malaysian bogwood's a pretty good option for that as well. It's extremely long lasting, and pretty much with any of these woods, if you have a pressure washer, you just clean it off real quick between builds, you're good to go. And as far as stones go, Dragonstone, it's easy to use. I like to use it sometimes. Lately, I've been really liking to use sandstone because it has that porosity and it also has a wicking effect. So if you have it partially submerged, a certain portion of it, maybe 2 to 3 inches up the stone, will be wet. So you could grow moss on the areas outside. Savory stone's cool, but it gets kind of heavy and it's also a limestone, so it hardens the water a little bit. I don't know. Pretty much I'll use anything, but
Your
those are a few
basement
things
looks
that
like
comes to mind.
your basement looks like a store. You know, you like all those drawers you have, all those different things. I think anybody who does this kind of work is like so jealous of your workstation.
Hey, it's a labor of love. I like it. It's something I did so it could be interactive for I don't it doesn't happen often, but when I have people that come here so I could actually teach people hands-on how to do stuff. And I'm trying to become more organized in my life, so that was one way I did it.
Yeah, I like it. And then as far as, something about putting wood in your water basin, whatever your water basin is, obviously you're going to create the tannin effect depending on the type of wood you have. So some people love kind of a tea-colored water depending on the species, and some people don't like it. So Tanner, is there types of wood, let's say you want to create a high tannin water feature, maybe list off some wood species, and then if you don't want any, let us know.
Yeah, well, if I wasn't on YouTube, all of my tanks, you wouldn't even be able to see in them because I love the tannins. Because it brightens the animal's colors so much. It de-stresses fish a little bit because their line of sight isn't as far, but We could have a whole podcast about why I love tannins. Mupani wood is extremely tannin heavy. It will leach tannins for years. So if you want that blackwater effect, definitely Mupani is a good option. Malaysian bogwood will for, depending on the size of the piece, maybe 6 to 10 months or so, but it doesn't take too long to get them out of there. Oak. Oak's pretty prevalent in that. The only issue with oak, though, is it kind of gets this fuzzy film on the outside for maybe about a month or so after you put it in, whereas the other ones I mentioned won't. And otherwise, if you really want that tannin effect, get some rooibos tea. You can buy it anywhere, right? But make sure it's only just pure rooibos. Boil that on your stove, let it cool down. Got tannins instantly.
Yeah, I like the tannin effect as well. I think it looks really cool. Adds a really nice element to the water. And what if somebody wants crystal clear water but wants wood feature within the water? Is there certain species that don't leach tannins?
Yeah, Manzanita is pretty tannin free. It might get a little bit yellow initially, but in no time it will clear up. Spiderwood doesn't really create that much tannins. And I don't know. Those are the ones that immediately come to mind, but there certainly are species that won't. Or if you can find one that's been soaking in water for a while already, then you can avoid it. You could also boil stuff to speed up the process, but yeah, those are a few that come to mind.
Yeah. I remember years ago trying to boil a piece of Malaysian driftwood to get the tannins out, and I think I gave up after a week. I'm like, what the hell? I just don't think you can boil these tannins out. Every time I dump the water, it's like darker than the last time.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.